The ulna and radius are the two bones of the forearm. The ulna is always placed medially, while the radius is placed laterally. Now, a close look at the two bones, an easy identification is the trochlear notch of the ulna and the head of the radius. So once you see the trochlear notch of the ulna and the head of the radius, that's the distinguishable feature of the two bones. So let's look at the bony landmarks of the bones. We'll consider the proximal end, the shaft, and the distal end. For the ulna, there are two processes. We have the olecranon process and the coronoid process. In between the olecranon process and the coronoid process is the trochlear notch. Trochlear notch articulates with the trochlea of the humerus to form the humero-ulnar joint. The trochlear notch also serves as some sort of stop when you are doing extension of the forearm at the elbow joint. So without it now, your forearm would practically fall off when you're doing extension. Then we can also see the radial notch. The radial notch is where the head of the radius articulates with the ulna to form the proximal radio ulnar joint. The head of the radius articulates with the radial notch of the ulna to form the proximal radioulnar notch. The proximal radioulnar joint. Then we can also see the ulnar tuberosity. Then at the shaft, the prominent feature there is the interosseous border. The interosseous border is also present in the radius. It is where the interosseous membrane actually attached. It's some sort of fibrous tissue that stabilizes the bones, stabilizes the bones in the forearm when you're doing pronation and supination. So the interosseous membrane gives some sort of structural support or stabilization to the bones of the forearm during supination and pronation. Then at the distal end, you can see the styloid process. This small projection here is the styloid process, and also the head of the ulna. The head of the ulna articulates with the ulnar notch. This is the ulnar notch of the radius to form the distal radio ulnar joint. Distal radio ulnar joint. So that's the articulation. For the radius, we have the head of the radius, we have the neck, the head of the radius, the neck, the radial tuberosity. Then we also, at the shaft, we have the interosseous border, where I mentioned before, that is also present in the ulna, where the interosseous membrane is attached. Then at the distal end, we have the styloid. You can see the styloid process. This is the styloid process of the radius, and also the ulnar notch